Well, hi everybody. Happy New Year. I'm John Ritland. This is my review of AEW Dynamite from Jacksonville, the same venue where Fight for the Fallen took place. And overall, this was a lot more fun than I anticipated because after the terrible ending to the December 18th edition, I didn't know if AEW was going to be able to come back right away. They did. Now, not everything on this show is perfect, but this was much, 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 much better than I anticipated. So, we have JR, Taz, and Excalibur on commentary, a good way to start. I don't know where Tony Schiavone is. I think maybe he might have been calling college football, or he just might have been on a holiday break. They brought Taz in, though. It was nice to hear Taz calling a major broadcast again. I know he did guest work on AEW Dark, but it is nice to hear him on a major wrestling broadcast once again. And they run down the card. I also miss Taz's ability to just wreck the English language on a constant basis. I know that he has his own way of talking and he does know his wrestling, but it is kind of funny. So we then have a weird video package with Darby Allin, and a contortionist guy on the street. I don't know what the deal was. And then Darby Allin comes out with some guy in, horror movie masks. First Michael Myers and I believe Leatherface. And we have Cody with Arn. And he is the head coach or the coach of the Nightmare Family, I believe. Can we stop with the Nightmare Family, the Nightmare Collective, this kind of stuff? Thankfully, no Nightmare Collective on this show. So, okay, huge ovation. Great. It was good. This was a good match. It was Cody versus Darby Allin, referee Aubrey. Darby and Aubrey I have seen a lot at indie shows over the past year. Tremendous people. Super nice if you ever get a chance to meet them. It was very, very well done. There was nice arm focus by Darby. Cody came back working on the knee, getting a nice figure four. There were some proper momentum switches. There was a stage dive at one point where Darby landed on his feet. Cody was like all shocked and everything. JR did at one point say Rhodes, not just Cody. Okay, whatever. He is Cody Rhodes and he should be allowed to have that name. There was an exposed turnbuckle, point where Darby was like getting a little more heelish. He's like, damn it, I want to win. I'm going to expose a turnbuckle. And like looking at Aubrey like, I don't care. And then we get a coffin drop on the apron, thankfully onto Cody and not onto the actual apron, but still, that looked pretty brutal, and I'm sure that wiped both of them out. Please stop doing that, Darby. We want you to be walking by the time you're 35. And Arn countered Arn at one point, helping Cody counter the coffin drop in the ring, said, hey, Cody, he's gonna hit the coffin drop. And then, Cody manages to get the knees up and then gets the most devastating move, the surprise roll up. 1, 2, 3, and Cody gets the victory. Okay, Darby looked pretty strong. I didn't think that Darby was going to win here because they're building up Cody and MJF, and it was a fine match. It was a good opener. I enjoyed this. We get an SCU promo and Scorpio Sky talking about the Dark Order and says no one likes spooky perverts messing with their finish. Gross, but good. This was good stuff. Sammy Guevara comes in and says, well, you guys are tag team champions. You're doing pretty well. But Daniels, same thing that Lucha Bros did. They picked on Daniels and everything. Well, you're too old. Maybe you should hang it up and stuff like that. By the way, Christopher Daniels can still move tremendously well even as he approaches age 50. But then Sammy gets challenged by Christopher Daniels. So, okay, we're going to get that. And his phone gets messed up and he wants to rub his phone off on Jen Sturger. I think it's Jen Sturger. Her dress. Okay, whatever. That was a bit odd. A lot of Jen on this show, by the way. I think she was the only credible backstage announcer that they had. Sorry, Alex Marvez, but the guy's still too quiet. He's better in that role, but still not all that great. Anyway, we then go right to our second match. It is Nyla Rose, Britt Baker, Hikaru Shida, and Riho. Four-way match for the AEW Women's Championship. Chris Statlander was supposed to get a shot at Riho, but she is being able to honor her commitment, being allowed to honor her commitment, that is, at a bar wrestling event, I believe, and they put this match here. Now, the match was good. Nyla attacking Riho right off the bat. There was a cool table spot afterwards, a little bit later where Nyla just, destroys Hikaru Shida through the table and then throws Riho off, and Riho almost hits her back on, the lip part of the table there. That looked pretty goddamn deadly. And then we get, before that, we got a leg drop off the ropes by Nyla Rose. I believe she hit that at Fyter Fest. It was in the match against Yuka Sakazaki and Riho, which was a pretty good match, by the way. And that was a pretty cool spot. Nyla Rose really shining here. Thankfully, Nyla Rose did not take the pin, which I was very happy about because I really did not want Nyla to take the pin again, especially if they're going to be building her. There was some nice near falls and everything. A couple where maybe they timed it a little bit wrong, but I'm willing to forgive that. Botches do happen. It wasn't anything where the ref had to hold up his hand for a goddamn eternity. And it was a nice women's match. There was a cool Michinoku driver from Hikaru Shida to Nyla Rose. That's some serious strength right there. Nyla sold properly, but still had a really, really good showing. There were some near falls, and then Riho manages to get a surprise roll up on Britt Baker, 1, 2, 3. And then Nyla afterwards puts Riho on the table, destroys her, puts Riho on the table, splashes her through. So we're going to get Riho versus Chris Statlander next week. I think it's possible that Chris Statlander could beat Riho because she'll be diminished. Though I think that they really should build for Nyla beating Riho either at the pay-per-view or at some point. You got to get the title off of Riho. Not that she's bad. You got to get the title off of Riho and put it on somebody else. And then we get a Joey Janela promo. Oh, no, we don't. And credit to Bobby, a friend of mine that I was chatting with, where Penelope Cruz hit him with a low blow. Or, as he said, Joey got hit in the Janellas. And that was really, really good. So, okay, Penelope Ford, by the way. And if I said Penelope Cruz before, I do apologize. I tend to get them mixed up despite the fact they're completely different people, and Penelope Ford is actually good. Penelope Ford does look a lot better with the darker makeup. Her and Kip Sabian are a tremendous on-screen couple and real-life couple, from my understanding. And cool, okay, we're getting Kip Sabian versus Joey Janela at some point. Please let Kip win, because Janela is not good at promos, nor is he good in the goddamn ring. And then we get to the one part of the show that I just absolutely hated. Well, there was one other part I didn't like. They referenced, I was hoping that it would just be a horrible nightmare. Nope. That this message was paid for by the Dark Order. The preceding announcement was paid for by the New World Order. It's essentially where they were going with this. And it's Evil Uno talking about a bunch of bullshit, taking out the Elite, this kind of stuff. It was one of the worst endings to a wrestling program. Not just in AEW's short history, but just in general. It was one of the worst endings to a program in 2019. And that's saying something, because WWE had a lot of endings that were really fucking bad. That was a really, really bad ending. It feels weird to say 2019. It's hard to believe that we all had 2020 vision for another 364 or 65 days since it's a leap year. So, anyway, I hate it. I hate it. Just stop with the Dark Order. Karen, stop trying to make the Dark Order happen. It's not going to happen. That was a Mean Girls reference, by the way. It's just dumb. It's pointless. You can't keep having these same stupid freaking cult things, these cult gimmicks that aren't working. Now, the Dark Order doesn't have any potential. Sorry, it really doesn't. They took way too long with it, and it's not going to work because none of the guys are very interesting. Nightmare Collective is just as bad, if not worse, and thankfully Brandy wasn't on there. This show was 150% better, almost at 105, but it's actually 150% better because Brandy Rhodes wasn't on TV. It's not that she's a bad person, she's just a charisma vacuum. And so, whatever, we had that. And then we get Trent versus Jon Moxley, and unfortunately Chuck Taylor and Orange fucking Pocket Dimension Cassidy. I don't get Orange Cassidy. I don't want to get Orange Cassidy. I hate the gimmick. If you guys like it, fine. That's fine. The match was fine for what it was. It was okay. Moxley's got to go to the Tokyo Dome, by the way, and wrestle possibly 2 straight nights. He's got to wrestle at least against Lance Archer, which I think he's going to win, and then he's going to beat Trent Beretta. So, or not Trent Beretta, he's going to face Juice Robinson, and Juice Robinson's going to beat him. Put Trent Beretta back in New Japan, by the way. He could do pretty well. Get him away from these 2 idiots. It was fine what it was. Trent had a decent showing. Mox, if he still is having issues with that elbow that he had the bandage on, he really needs to start wearing, a band on it, like a pad. Just wear an elbow pad, something. But anyway, 2 paradigm shifts. First one on the stage, and then one on the, and then one in the ring. 1, 2, 3. Cool. Did have this one point where they had Mox had a stare down with Orange Cassidy, who got in the ring while the referee was right there, and yeah, he didn't end up kicking him, so it ended up causing a DQ. But Mox just does the pocket thing and just does this and shoves him, and he should have kicked him right in the nuts. I mean, if Orange Cassidy is that good of a wrestler, apparently, I have yet to see it, but also I've only seen his stuff on AEW, beat the shit out of him and give him a reason to get mad and give him a reason to get in the goddamn ring. If they're going to keep doing this bullshit, it's just going to get more stale than it already is. It is stale. Like, I don't get why people pop for it. I'm not faulting people that do. It's fine if you like it. I just don't get it. Give him a reason to get in the goddamn ring. Seriously, otherwise, fucking stop it. And then we get Sammy Guevara, and he's basically channeling the guy from Die Hard. I forget the name right now, but it's like, Hans Bobby, I'm your white knight. And he was just talking for Jericho, but talking to Moxley, saying, hey, we want you to join the Inner Circle, da da da. And then suddenly a video plays. Jericho, and I'm paraphrasing here, but it says, I'll give you 49% of the Inner Circle LLC. I'll give you this fancy car. And Jericho says, hey, us together, we could ram our fist down Cody's throat so far and pull out his pink tie out of his ass. Whatever fisting and throat action Jericho wants, okay, just keep that to yourself. Take a little bit of the bubbly, or maybe stop drinking a little bit of the bubbly, and get in better shape. I'm one to talk because I'm not in great shape, but Jericho is seriously like not a stamina machine, and it's frightening. So, match fine with what it was. Mox will give him his answer next week. They're going to be in Memphis. They're going to be walking in Memphis, and now the song's stuck in your head. So, during the commercial, Sammy is using flashcards because, nobody can hear him about Dustin's injury. And then we get Dustin versus Sammy. Match is fine. Jake Hager does make his appearance, makes his presence known. I don't think it's really that shocking because eventually having Hager in the goddamn ring is what they're going to need to do. And I know I believe he's still trying to do MMA. I don't know if he gets suspended by Bellator for doing the whole accidental, knee to the groin. I mean, it was pretty obvious that was, on purpose. He wouldn't be the first guy to do it, but if they're going to build to Hager getting in the ring, they kind of are going to need to do it soon because it's been 3 months now, and you can only kind of do these interference spots for so long before it starts to get it's not really making me hate Hager. It's not really making me hate the guy. The guy is a decent enough athlete. He's as bland as white bread, but at least as far as an athlete, he is legit, but he's also not very interesting. This is going to make him less interesting unless they actually do something different with him. He does end up interfering as there was an apron spot, of course, hardest part of the ring. The commentary team needs to let us know these things, by the way, because otherwise fans are just going to have to guess that. It's a joke, by the way. Hager at one point, while the referee's distracted, hits a low blow, and then Sammy gets a win. Okay, not shocking. Sammy needed the win. Dustin has an out, and there we go. And then we get Hangman interrupting an interview that Jen has with Private Party. Hangman wearing a shirt so loud you could hear it and see it from space. It's actually a bit frightening. And then, I guess he's getting upset at him. Well, then we get MJF and Wardlow, and he says, he says to the crowd, well, maybe you could see the shit a little more clearly if you didn't have your head so far up your ass. Oh boy, that's great. He was able to say shit on TV. Cool. I mean, I know it's cable, but still, MJF is just there to give stipulations. Hey, Cody, you want to face me? Okay, we're going to face off at the Revolution pay-per-view, but, that's weeks away. Well, actually, it's almost 2 months away because it's at the end of February on leap year. What a weird time. What a weird thing. Why did the human race ever create leap year? It's so bizarre. But then he says, you can't touch me before Evolution, even if you get a finger on me. So he doesn't want Cody fingering him before the pay-per-view. Have fun unseeing that. And then he must face Wardlow, and I think he said in a cage. I sort of was just so captivated by how the crowd was reacting that I sort of lost some of this stuff here, but I believe in a cage. Okay, if it's going to be in a cage, I don't know why in the world they would put the cage match on TV and not put it on pay-per-view to be their first cage match, but whatever. And then MJF wants to whip Cody because the sub has become the Dom right now. I have watched way too much Criminal Minds. Great promo by MJF. Whether he's best heel in wrestling or not is arguable. And then we get a Jungle Boy promo. He did fine. He did fine. But then they badly timed the music cue because Luchasaurus was talking and nobody could hear what the fuck he was saying. Also, Marco Stunt is shorter than the backstage interviewer. Why is Marco Stunt allowed to be in a wrestling ring is something I'll never know. And then we get Britt cutting off Riho, who is going to have a promo and basically says, I've been here every single week. Where the hell have you been? This kind of stuff. And it's like, I'm a dentist. I should be champion. This kind of stuff. It was a bit weird, but, whatever. At least they're letting Britt kind of become frustrated, possibly turn heel because she's tired of being overlooked. Fine. She is eating a lot of losses, but it is what it is. And I guess the records are going to reset next week. I was under the impression the records were reset. Oh, well, I don't really care. The wins and losses matter-ish, unless it doesn't serve the story. But anyway, we then get Omega and the Bucks So, the Kenny Bucks versus Bastard Bros. It's Lucha Bros and the Bastard Pac. Hangman on commentary with a shirt that was still, louder than anything could ever be on commentary. It was a lot of flippy shit, more flippy shit, and, oh, did I say flippy shit? The match was fine. It didn't overstay its welcome, but it just, eventually when you keep doing high spot, it gets to the point where it's just nothing. I'm not saying that these guys can't put on a good psychological match. The Bucks have proven me wrong in the past. I still say Lucha Bros are better, but also with Lucha, you have to know what you're going to get. Omega was basically made by Okada, not to say Omega cannot have a good match. He's never had as good matches as he had with Okada. Pac is the star that they should be pushing here. He does hit the Black Arrow, but the Bucks break it up just before he can pin Omega. And then Phoenix gets hit with the Juan Wing Angel, 1, 2, 3. And then Cody's there, the Elite celebrating. And they want Paige to be there. Now, I was under the impression on being the Elite that Hangman had left the Elite. I don't really care because I don't really think the Elite's all that good. They're influential-ish, but I think that they're overrated. I think they're NWO 2000 as far as I'm concerned. But that being said, they're all good athletes and they all do have a strong show, a strong following. But I was under the impression Hangman had left. So anyway, he leaves, and that's the end of the show. Despite how I sounded down on some of the stuff, I am going to surprise some people with a grade here. I'm going to say a B. I'm going to say, you know what? I'll say B+. I'll say B+ because I liked a lot of what they were doing. Despite the Dark Order vignette and the fact that Orange Cassidy, they need to start doing something else with him. You know what? It was a much better show than I anticipated. Now, I don't know if it's going to be a great show next week. We'll see. But AEW maybe is hitting the reset button a little bit on here, and if they can keep this going, they might actually be able to get a bunch of ratings back. Hopefully they can do well this week and in subsequent weeks, and we can have healthy competition between AEW and NXT, and all the fans can win. So anyway, B+, poll maybe up there, if not, or there, somewhere, fuck, I don't know. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, Twitter handle in the description. I'm John Ritlin. I'll see you soon.